A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew chapter 9 verses 32 to 38. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. Right after that, as the blind men were leaving, a man who had been struck speechless by an evil spirit was brought to Jesus. As soon as Jesus threw the evil tormenting spirit out, the man talked away just as if he had been talking all his life. The people were up on their feet applauding. There has never been anything like this in Israel. The Pharisees were left sputtering, "Hocus pocus, it is nothing but hocus pocus. He's probably made a pact with the devil." Then Jesus made a circuit of all the towns and villages. He taught in their meeting places, reported kingdom news, and healed their diseased bodies, healed their bruised and hurt lives. When he looked out over the crowds, his heart broke. So confused and aimless they were, like sheep with no shepherd. "What a huge harvest," he said to his disciples. "How few workers. On your knees and pray for harvest hands." The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 9 verses 32 to 38. Today's Gospel presents a dumb demon in a man. We read through the incident as if yet another miracle or healing performed by Jesus, the Master Healer. But the Gospel calls on us to pay attention on this force of evil that has silenced this man. These evil forces are still tormenting human lives in our present times. They continue to infect in our so-called era of communication. Think of those forces and circumstances that prevent us from speaking out the truth. When we conveniently avoid the truth and refuse to stand for justice, peace, and love, it is an indication that these silencing forces are present in our own times, in our hearts, in the lives of our community and the church. These evil forces create secrecy, lack of expression, isolation, and distance from personal relationship with others. Such evil forces push us to hide, to seclude ourselves in suffocating narrowness of our ego. When infected with such forces, we easily get annoyed by others coming into our lives, and we put forth at times sullen faces. We realize that our neighborhood are populated with people who have been thrown away, marginalized, oppressed, discriminated against, abused, exploited, abandoned, poor and suffering. To fill our personal emptiness and loneliness, we find relief in TV, movies, the internet, or any other impersonal entertainments. The problem of the mute is not only in the language. To learn to speak, you must first be able to listen. The evil forces prevent us from listening to the voice of God and voice of the people. The only voice that we would then listen to is that voice that shut us down and keep us silent when faced with injustices, hatred, and violence and suppression. We stand in need of an exorcism today to drive the demons of fear and selfishness out of our lives, to enable us to raise our voice against the presence of the evil. We have preferred silence to speaking against injustice, hatred, and violence. The living presence of Jesus alone can cast out those demons. Scandalous limitations were never lacking in Jesus' environment, but those did not stop Jesus from speaking words of compassion and forgiveness to those rejected and despised by the community and religious leaders. Meanwhile, Jesus remained stern and firm against the self-righteousness of the religious leaders. Today, we stand in liberation from the evil spirit of fear that silences us, and be filled with the Holy Spirit of courage, mercy, and empathy.